You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, Internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Hidden Traps is now available in paperback and ebook from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687. 687.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now, 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Sometimes writers feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same.
All right, folks, happy Thursday evening. I am Rick Robinson, one half of the crew on the Jen and Rick Show, and of course the other half is Miss Jen Homestead, my co-host. Feeling a bit out of it tonight, folks. Sorry, I've been doing some work behind the scenes, so I've already put in a few hours here tonight. So I'm going to turn things over to Jen because I just got thrown an article, so I'm trying to... somehow I missed something that actually happened here in Oklahoma, and I'm trying to figure out how in the world I have not heard about this. So I'm reading this real quick, so talk. Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I was up pretty late watching the hostages disembark from the plane at Andrews. So for some reason, I was just really this just really got to me. I think it is, and I don't care why it's happening, who they want to give credit to. I'm not interested in arguing about any of that, or at least I wasn't last night. In the moment, that's not what I care about at all. What I care about is it's pretty phenomenal that these 3 American citizens were released from a country that they probably thought they would never see the light of day again. I mean, honestly, look at what just recently happened with Otto. So I don't think that any of these men probably expected to return home. And then here they are. They were released, and kudos to Pompeo and kudos to the Trump administration. And I don't know if Kim Jong-un is playing a game or what is going on, but regardless, I'm happy that these 3 were able to make it home. And I was thinking about it. They said that one of the guys has been, there's not a whole lot known about their imprisonment, but that one of the guys has been there for possibly a little over 2 years, and most of that probably in solitary confinement. So can you imagine getting released? So 2 years ago, think about that it's over 2 years. So beginning of 2016 or end of 2015, right? So he may have been talking a big game at this point, but there was no one that thought that this would happen. So can you imagine coming out of solitary confinement in a prison in North Korea, and you're told that the president that's going to meet you is the reality TV host and businessman, but the apprentice host, Donald Trump. And you're like, why is Trump coming? And they're like, because he's president. And you're like, what? The world has changed so much. Wouldn't that be just such a weird thing to come out of something like that too?
Yeah, that would definitely just, I don't know.
You're like, I'm sorry, what?
No,
Trump? Huh?
Yeah, I'm still flabbergasted by the whole thing because I don't know. I'm pissed. I'm just going to say it. I'm pissed. Because if this was any other president, the media would be calling him a hero. Because whether you want to admit it or not, it was his administration that was key to making this happen. You guys don't want to give him the credit for it, that's fine. I don't care. I'm not about the credit, but what I'm getting tired of at this point is this man can't do anything right. We had a mainstream media for 8 years that thought Barack Obama could do absolutely no wrong. And now we have a mainstream media where no matter what he does, he gets lambasted. He's being talked down to because he was actually there at 3 a.m. when they disembarked and had a press conference and everything else. Can you imagine what they would have done to him if he was still asleep? Oh, look, he's so old he couldn't even go visit people coming off a plane at 3 a.m. He can't do anything right. I'm tired of all of it. I mean, like,
yeah, I was watching I was kind of flipping back and forth between the different networks last night and their coverage, and I was really struck by how a few people, well, I mean, it doesn't surprise me that much, but it actually still does surprise me when it comes to actual American citizens' lives being saved. And not only that, but they're minorities. I mean, they're all Korean American. So I was really kind of struck by the tone of some of the people on MSNBC and CNN, almost kind of bitter or annoyed about this. And some of the questions and like some of the discussions they were having was putting forth things like, what kind of, in what way has this compromised some other facet of our security? Okay. Then there was the thing, which is just so stupid. They're basically like, okay, so if we got 3 guys, like, what did we sacrifice? Then the other thing was, if Pompeo could go over there, and talk to them and get these 3 hostages, well, then he could have done a lot more. Like, basically, he got FaceTime, so he could have done, he didn't do enough, and it was so odd. It was like, instead of it just being about these 3 men coming home, and they could have, frankly, I wouldn't have cared. They didn't even have to praise Trump or Pompeo, but to have this weird little like jaded edge to it was so strange to me. And it was obviously really disgusting too. Like, be thankful that American lives were saved.
Yeah, I mean, don't misunderstand. I think most of what set me off about it wasn't really, the whole, we're not going to give Trump credit for this. It was the nearly blatant mocking of the hostages themselves. I mean, the undercurrent and the tone of, well, we got these 3 people back, but what did we have to give up in return? I'm just like, you guys can't take a second and say, you know what, this is actually a pretty good damn day in America. We got 3 people back that we thought that I'm sure they thought they were going to die there. They're home, and it's all about, well, what did we have to give up to make it happen? Well, how do we know what did or didn't just happen? And I'm just like, would you just stop? Just for 5 seconds, take the W. You guys could have taken the W. You didn't even have to give Trump credit for it.
Exactly.
You still could have taken the W for the fact that people were brought home that we thought were going to die over there. And
they were all obviously had disdain for the fact that the 3 in a release statement, which was a combined statement, and I'm sure we'll hear more from these 3 gentlemen in the future. If they're willing, they may not be willing to talk about it, and that's okay too. And the media needs to let that alone. But they released this joint statement, and one of the very first things is that they said that they wanted to thank God and President Trump for bringing them home. And the disdain in the voices of the people reading this and acting like, well, and they would do like these extra explanations. Every time that was said, it would be like, well, this is a joint press release, and we don't know what any one of these individuals actually feels on their own, and it was probably written by a press secretary somewhere. Having to explain it and set up because they couldn't stand that that's what they said. So I just thought that's so insulting to these survivors, because that's what they are. They are North Korean prison hostage survivors, and I just found that really in poor taste to media-splain their own press statement to them.
Ooh,
so
I'm stealing that from now on. I'm just heads up. I am stealing that from now on.
Go for it. But it was just so condescending and really quite an insult to them, I thought.
Sorry, I got interrupted for a second there. Yeah, fun times. All right, so but it's just, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to spend the whole show talking about it, but I have to admit that's what's had me pretty well steamed all day long. I'm just, I'm one of the first people when I heard Trump say what he said at one of the I think it was either one of his rallies or at one of the debates, where he basically talked about going after the press and limiting what they could say and doing this and doing that. That was about the fourth or fifth warning bell for me. And that was another reason why I wasn't comfortable voting for him, because he was just coming across as somebody that basically wanted to he was sounding like a dictator. But after watching the way that they have treated him now for 18 months, where no matter what he does, he can't catch a break with them. It doesn't matter what he does. He goes and does something because he knows if he doesn't, they're going to crucify him for not doing it. And I don't mean to use that word because I don't think of him in that tone either. But at the same time, I mean, it's a common used phrase. And it boggles my mind that the media has gotten to the point where, I mean, they have no objectivity anymore. None. This would have been a great story for everyone and should have been a great story for everyone, even if they never mentioned the name Donald Trump. They could have made it a positive story, and they chose not to. That's what's driving me nuts. They can't just report on the news anymore. It's like I saw there was something... I don't even remember who it was, but it was like MSNBC news star, blah, 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 says this was all choreographed and coordinated. What the hell is a news star? Why is there such a thing as a news star? You guys' job used to be to report the news. The stories were supposed to be the stars. You guys were the ones that were supposed to be telling the stories so people knew what was going on.
Well, I don't know if you saw any of my feed today, but I was told that I was having trouble expressing myself. I was told maybe I should learn to really speak my mind a little bit more, because especially that one tweet that you're talking about, that where they said that she said it was choreographed and too staged and blah, blah, blah. Well, I am sorry. Like, that is absolutely ridiculous. So, I went ahead and said she could basically F off. And then I just started seeing more people kind of saying that kind of thing. And I'm like, this is, they're just so smug and they're so entitled, and it's so disgusting and it's degrading to these people. I mean, what are they supposed to do? It's anything like this is obviously going to have some amount of staging to it. It has to. It lends to this situation. And I don't know what they expected, if they wanted them to come off the plane looking haggard and on stretchers or something, and then they would just give a limp wave to the media and ignore Trump and never talk to him. I mean, I think that's really most of what this is all about. They're mad that there was photo op with Trump and with Pence and Pompeo. I mean, I think that is what annoys them, is that he got a photo moment. And, during the Obama administration, like you said, they adored them. There was a lot of stuff today about, like, this is why the right-wing media, is just as bad as the things they complain about, because they are all blah, 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 blah. Well, it's like, yeah, dude, but see, the thing, they're like, I would never have a meeting. And I think they were kind of talking about the red state thing, but it's like, I've never been called to a meeting where I've been told who to report on and how to report on someone, especially the politician. That would never happen at the Huffington Post. And it's like, because you wouldn't hire anyone that would have gone against Obama in the first place. Okay, some mildly critical articles here or there, but nothing really. So, yeah, it's a moot point. There doesn't have to be any meetings, because you hire the kind of people that report in the way that you want about the people and the things that you want them to. So, no, you're exactly like the right-wing media, which is doing the opposite, on the other end of the spectrum. So the media in general is just so on this subject, I think that they just come across as looking like complete buttholes. Is that it?
Yeah, no, I mean, I completely agree. And I mean, it's not just this subject anymore, though. I mean, look at the media tone throughout the day. Even with other stories, it was just things that should have been positive. They had the chance to make things positive, and they chose to make them negative. I don't understand that. That's not your job. Your job is to report the story. Let the story either be positive or negative on its own merits. You don't get to color the story. You are not a commentator. I am a commentator. Yes, I am technically a member of the media, and I get that, but I tell everyone up front, I am not a reporter, I am a commentator. My job, when I choose to do that job, is to give you my opinions about the news stories of the day. You, however, are supposed to be reporting the news stories of the day. Your job is to report them. My job is to make fun of you when you screw up as badly as you did today. So thank you for giving me lots and lots of material for the next few days. Duh.
Exactly. Oh man, it's just it's embarrassing, really.
It really is. I mean, we always talk about state-run media and how everything was going to be state-run media under Trump. It's the exact opposite. We have the resistance-run media, and everything that could go wrong always goes wrong, even when things are going right. They're still not talking about all the positive things that are going on in this country right now. For God's sake, we still have the lowest African-American unemployment rate in history. Whether you look at the U6 numbers or not, it's lower than it's ever been in history. Nobody's talking about it because Trump. I'm tired of it. There are so many things that we should be focusing on because this is the thing that they're not thinking about. Or maybe they are, and that's what worries them. If we were actually focusing on the positive things that were going on in this country right now, instead of making everybody that reads those papers and follows along with those news sites and TV stations and whatever else think that we're going to glow in the dark in 30 seconds. Can you imagine how much more positive the outlook would be in this country if they actually reported all the positive things that are going on right now? Unemployment rates like we've never seen before. People got a tax break. They redid most of the tax code. They brought 3 people home that we thought were going to die. They have North Korea coming to the peace table, but Stormy Daniels. I'm so sick of this. I'm over it. I'm just done. I mean, look, I'm not even a Trump supporter, but the more this goes on, the more I'm ready to pull the lever for him in the next election, just so I can watch liberal heads explode.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard not to be very frustrated. And you know, the thing about it for me is that there are so many things in which to truly and honestly and reasonably criticize him and criticize this administration. There have been plenty of things on the table to be able to take to task, but you render any of those criticisms kind of useless when all you do is when you tear apart even the good things, and when you criticize, whether he held his wife's hand or not. Or if he went up the stairs before her or not, when that's what you're focusing on and calling it news all the time, then you lose all credibility when you have an actual valid concern or a valid criticism. And that's what really, I think, hurts journalism as a whole, in addition to all of the, just nonsense. But that just really, I think, hurts that profession, because that's not what they're intended to do. And like you said, there are lots of commentators. There are tons of political commentators, and that's fine. They can do whatever they want. But, you've got people calling themselves legitimate reporters and editors of newspapers saying that they're, that are giving very blatant opinions, and then they're letting this Trump derangement syndrome basically eat their brains so that they can't hardly function normally in their profession at all. But it was the opposite with Obama. They also had Obama obsessive syndrome, where they couldn't do their job correctly. So, this is, I guess, kind of nothing new, because they've been like that for years.
I don't know. I think I was more comfortable watching them fawn over Obama because I expected it. The outright hate that they're dealing with right now is just insane to me. Hang on. I gotta shut a door because I have people too close to the studio area right now. Hang on.
And I don't think that I don't think that it's it's not going to get any better. It's just not. It's only going to get worse. It's too far in now. There's not going to be any course reversal, and Bush has just got worse and worse and worse. And this is, sometimes it's not as bad as that, and sometimes it's way worse than that was. So, that's just kind of how it goes.
Okay, sorry, I'm back now. I didn't realize I didn't shut the outside door, and I had people standing right next to the door talking. Anyway, fun times.
All good.
All right, so, I don't know. I think we've talked about the media enough to a point. I mean, pretty much everything that's going on in the news cycle is going to have something to do with him anyway, because, I mean, even the positive stuff that's going on in North Korea is being tainted by them. And, of course, now even all the people that were like, I was against the Iran nuclear deal till he backed out of it, now I'm for it. I'm like, I don't understand. I don't know how we got here to the point where people just can't let a story stand or fall on its own. Because, I mean, it's like you said, it's not like there aren't legitimate things to criticize this presidency over. He's not perfect. He's the first thing I really, and I know this pisses people off when I say this, the first thing I really want someone to do who is one of his aides is say, Mr. President, give me your phone. We're going to handle your accounts from now on. You go sign papers or go spend time with your wife, go to a meeting, do something. We're going to handle your Twitter account. That would be step one if I were the handler of the president.
No more social media privileges.
And I know that makes people mad because they feel like that's his way to get around the media. And I could see that to a point, but there are too many times when he tweets that I swear to God, my son when he was 5 could have put together more coherent sentences than that.
Yeah, it's definitely not something that I prefer, but oh well. That's how he's I guess just always going to be unless something new comes along and he gets distracted.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. And like I said, I mean that's a small thing to be concerned about, really, I guess, with everything else that's going on, but I just and I get it, you know, that's his I'm not a politician, so I'm going to do things differently, and I'm going to use Twitter to talk to the people, and yada 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 yada. But I'm thinking, you know, could you maybe, you know, put a bit of a filter on it before you do it? I mean, I understand what it is you're trying to do, but you know, I could talk like a redneck sailor on Twitter if I really wanted to. I choose not to. It's not that I can't. Trust me, I grew up around a bunch of redneck drunks. I could pull it with the best of them. I have before when I get really upset. And people have seen it. They're like, what just happened? I'm like, that's the side of me I don't usually let out in public. But that's the thing. Does he really have to just tweet? It's like stream of consciousness Twitter. His Twitter after midnight becomes stream of consciousness Twitter. It's like, remember the movie Gremlins? Where you can't.
Yes.
You're not supposed to feed them after midnight. That would be my rule for Donald Trump. You cannot have your phone after midnight, because after midnight you become this thing that just tweets like nonstop till 4 a.m, and you wake up in the morning and go, I don't even remember half of what I posted, but holy cow. And then everybody else is looking at it going, what the hell does that even mean? Like that kafefe thing that happened at like 3:45 in the morning. And everybody's like, we don't even know what that is. And then I had people trying to convince me that it was like Arabic or something. And I'm like, there's not even that. One of those letters doesn't even exist in the Arabic alphabet. I don't care. But it's just, like I said, if you want to, there's plenty of things that you could criticize about this presidency if you choose to, without going after every single thing that happens. Again, the positive things that are going on, whether you like it or not, Donald Trump kept a promise this week. He did the same thing that pretty much all of the other 4 million people standing on the Republican primary stage said when they were trying to get nominated is, I'm going to get us out of the Iran deal. He did it. If you don't like it, that's great. Explain to me why you don't like it, because with everything that we've seen that's come out about it, it was a terrible deal. All we basically did was give them back access to cash that they never should have gotten in the first place, that has basically propped up a regime that is terrible to its people. We've given them the ability to buy some of the parts that they needed and supply North Korea with other things that North Korea needed. So through this supposed, better peace through giving them money type thing, otherwise known as appeasement, we now managed to make two enemies of America much more strong nuclear-wise. And I honestly think that might be one of the reasons why Kim Jong-un is so ready to come to the table, because I think he's realized he really doesn't need to be the bad guy anymore because he can have Iran do it for him.
Maybe onto something there. I don't know. I just don't believe that this guy that like pretty recently had high-ranking officers and even family members killed over what have been, claimed to be somewhat trivial things, suddenly changed and decides, I want to be normal on the world stage. He started with the Olympics and then the recent meeting with South Korea. And I don't know if you ever saw, did you see where they stepped over where Kim Jong-un got to that border and stepped into South Korea? They first did a handshake over the line, it's kind of like a little block. It's like a curb basically that separates the North and the South. And they shook hands over the line for a photo op, and then Kim Jong-un stepped over and they shook hands for the photo op. And then, so they're both in South Korea, and then they start to walk away, and Kim Jong-un grabs his arm and then motions to the side and then says a few things to him, obviously wanting him to step into North Korea and take a picture with him in North Korea. And the South Korean president hesitates. He visibly hesitates before then going, he's kind of like, okay. And then he steps across real quick and they do it. And he's the first one to step back over into South Korea. It just seemed pretty obvious to me that even though there's media and there's, obviously they've got they had some of their military on standby and everything like that. And they had their own personal bodyguards and all those things. It still gave him pause to step foot, even in front of all those people in North Korea. Isn't that crazy?
No, not really. Think about it.
It was crazy to watch, and then no one really commented on that. And I'm like, I have to watch that again. Am I making this up in my head? And so I watched it like 3 or 4 times, and then I had my husband watch it, and he says, "Oh my gosh, you're right." Like he's not exactly like. You could say, oh, they were just communicating, and so that's why he was waiting for him to finish, and then he walked over. It looks like he hesitates, and then they are barely 2 seconds of a photo op, and he's got his foot back over into South Korea. This guy took a real chance with one of the craziest dictators on the planet who might have just took him by the neck and dragged him into, nowhere's land, which they would not have, South Korea would not have been able to deal with it. They just wouldn't have.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's what would have given me pause is I'm like, what if he's bringing me back over here to arrest me?
Yeah, what if this is all a bluff and he has his goons come drag me away right now? Like, what do we do? What does South Korea do? South Korea calls the U.S., South Korea contacts the base there and says, get your people on this. But and then the U.S. goes, great, we're going to war. It was really fascinating to me. So as historic as it was and all of that, I thought the body language, I found it very, very interesting. And that whole little exchange was quite something.
Well, yeah, and like I said, I don't know what his ultimate end goal is here, and I don't know what's going to come of this because, nothing exactly like this has happened before, but he's made feints about wanting to make peace before, and it's always fallen through. Now, I'm not sure exactly what his plan is, and I don't know if it's a stall tactic, and I don't know if maybe because, like I said, go look, because you can find it. There have been some behind-the-scenes exchanges going on between Iran and North Korea, so at this point, each of them has helped bolster the program in whichever ways they were lacking as soon as the sanctions got lifted. And I know this for a fact because I've seen the paper trail. So what I'm wondering is, and I'm not saying he's going to be Mr. Nice Guy for forever, but is he going to be the one that says, I'm going to sit here and try to smooth things over for a while you guys have this nuclear stuff going on, and then if we need anybody to be the bad guy, then for right now it's going to be you, so that I can see what I can get out of this mess. And he is that conniving, whether anybody wants to admit it or not. Let's not forget, we've actually I did a pretty in-depth show a while ago on Kim Jong-un after I'd seen a special, I believe it was on 2020, and then I went and found a lot of research and I did a lot of stuff on my own. He actually murdered his brother.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't even though he's not even the one that's supposed to be running the country right now. The only reason he is because he murdered his brother. So I really don't see him. I mean, I'm hoping I'm wrong, but I really don't see him just backing away out of the spotlight. And even if he does, what angle is he pushing? I mean, and I hope I'm wrong, because I really, really want to see peace in that peninsula. But at the same time, I just don't see it happening. And I think on some levels, maybe the South Korean president senses that too, and maybe that was part of the reason why their body language got weird, especially there towards the end. I mean, because when everything was happening on the south on the south side of everything, everybody seemed pretty comfortable. There was no weirdness. And then as soon as he was like, "Hey, you should come over here and take a picture," dude's like, "No. I have my people call your people. We'll do lunch." And then he goes over there anyway.
We'll do lunch.
All right, we are severely long, so we should probably take a break and pay some bills or something. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. This is Jen and Rick live on KLRNradio.com. Don't go away.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq, Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now. 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
folks, and we're still using the Iran bumper music because I got hate mail over it, so suck it! We're using it some more. Alright, so anyway, we are live. This is Jen and Rick. We're live on KLRradio.com. Here in just a bit, I'll be back with you live doing the solo thing on America Off the Rails, and then, of course, we'll round up the week tomorrow night with all kinds of cool stuff. Mainly, the ones I want to talk about are we're going to do a special late-night edition of Off the Rails. We're actually going to have our Middle East expert on with us to talk a little bit more about what's going on with the Iran thing, and we're going to also do Robinson and Wright, provided that one of us doesn't have some sort of life-altering event, because lately that show's been hard to do, because it's like I was dying from teeth for a long time, so I was like trying to put it off, and then he's had things that have come up for the last couple of weeks, and I'm like, dude, we've got to do a show this week, otherwise we're going to get pulled from my heart. Because we got to do it.
Yeah, Friday night's hard, though, because stuff does always seem to come up, you know?
Yeah, but I don't want to get that email from my heart that be like, you are not satisfying your contractual obligations, therefore this show has been removed. And I'm like, damn it.
Yep, that would be a real bummer.
Yeah, I'm just like, so yeah, we're definitely going to have to do one. And then I've, in between trying to get to the point, because I actually do still feel about 90% better than I did before the teeth were pulled. But now, the seasons in my neck of the woods have gone completely crazy. I'm like having an allergy-laden summer, which is a really weird sensation. Because everything started trying to pollinate, because for like a week it was spring. Now it's like 90 degrees and feels like summer, and everything's still like, oh, we still need to make babies. And I'm like, the tree pollen's through the roof, the flower pollen's through the roof, the grass pollen's through the roof, and I can't breathe. It's been terrible. Anyway, enough of me whining.
I'm so sorry.
I knew that was coming. Typical female response when I start whining. You sound just like my wife. I'm so sorry. Sit down and shut up.
Why are people arguing about Robert E. Lee and slavery on Twitter again? Did something else happen?
I have no idea.
Me either. Like half my feed, and I don't even know. I can't even find the source of where it all came from. Whatever. Anyways.
I'm trying to find out, but I have, like, my mentions are destroyed from this chain that I'm in with Sam, and I'm like, I don't even, like, I'm trying to figure out what might be trending to see what might have set it off, but I don't guess it's gotten big enough that it's trending yet.
No, I think someone just made a comment about, like, who the most honorable, like, past U.S., like, I guess people were or something. And then it just kind of went from like that, from there, about who the most honorable man in U.S. history was. But, so yeah, someone said Robert E. Lee, and that he would be really high up there, which actually is pretty true if you don't view him as a complete traitor to his country, and like he was, you know, the architect of the war or whatever, that some people try to kind of act like he, like, you know, that's what he wanted and he was bloodthirsty and all that kind of thing. If you don't buy into all of that and you actually look at his life's work, he was a pretty remarkable man. But I get why he is automatically off the list for most people because of the Civil War. It makes sense. Yeah. Anyways, I think that's pretty much what it was about, and now it's got a bunch of different people arguing.
Fun times. That honestly seems like that's all Twitter's really good for anymore. You have fun and talk with people in groups, and then you're on main timeline just arguing about something.
Well, you know, I just posted last night about the hostages coming home on Facebook. And I am hardly ever on. I mean, I'm on and I like people's stuff and I like look at my family members and like sometimes friends, but I do not spend a lot of time on Facebook, and I don't. And I'm talking about my personal one with my family. I don't, partially because there are all these people that I know that I don't like how they act and who they become on social media. And like, I was a big girl and I went and got my own account on Twitter so that I didn't have to see any of you people and I didn't have to tear you down. And it makes me not like people that I normally like, not just because of their opinions, but because of the way they treat each other. And, you know, everyone just gets torn to shreds. And it's like, I'd rather do that with a stranger. I don't want to do that with friends. And it makes me not like who they are anymore. So I mostly stay off because people are so political, and especially since so many of the people I know are very liberal. So it's hard. But all I did was post about how, I was watching the hostage release and, or the hostage return, and how it was just so cool. And I was so excited for these men and their families, and that, and then I just said, but can you imagine having, like I said at the beginning of the show, like, can you imagine having been like completely out of touch and in solitary confinement for 2 solid years? And they're like, meet your president, Donald Trump, and how funny that would be. And then I just said, I don't want this to get political. And the only reason I gave that disclaimer was because I had mentioned Trump's name. And so I knew that there would be at least one, jerk that would have to be like, well, but Trump sucks, and so I just said, I don't want this to turn political. I'm just so grateful for these men and their families that they were able to return home. And I had someone come at me about how this could be taken as political, and that I needed to understand that some people do view the hostage situation as political, and them coming home as a political move, and that I needed to, and it was not right of me to tell people that what they weren't and how they were and were not allowed to respond to my posts. And I'm sorry, it's a little bit different than Twitter or even a few of the other social media platforms. Facebook is your page. It's called your wall. And you tailor it how you see fit, which is why you, on your own posts, can delete and moderate comments. And I basically just said, I don't, and it was a huge long paragraph of like, how I, I shouldn't say that, and people are tired of being told to shut up, and they're going to have their opinions if they want, and she's not going to be gagged anymore. And I'm like, who is gagging you? You're ranting on social media. Like, no one's gagging you. We're not going to stand for it. And I'm like, you don't know, but you don't have the right to come on my page and say whatever you want and demand that I leave it, or that I listen to it, or that I engage with it. And that's basically kind of what she was saying. But then I said, well, okay, it's my page. I'm like, nope, sorry, not buying it. I said I didn't want it to turn political, because I had said, but some of you won't be able to help yourselves. And I went, so you couldn't help yourself. Okay, there you go, whatever. And then I said, it's my page, and I'll, keep it however, I'll say whatever I like, and I'll keep it however I please. Well, she lost it and went on and on and on. And this little thing went back and forth for a little bit. And it turns out that she agrees with me. She does not think it's political at all. She thinks it's 100% amazing and should be celebrated that these Americans came home. But she had to look so hard to find a bone to pick, because she knows that we're different politically. So she tried to find something. So she got hung up on the fact that I told people not to make it political, and that was wrong of me. And I'm like, I'm not like infringing on your First Amendment rights. I'm not doing anything. You went out of your way. I said I didn't want that, partially because of the negativity, which you've now brought to me, and you went out of your way to do that. Well, this is kind of just how it's been. Like, I never get on because of that crap. I mean, you can't even post something positive about hostages coming home without people and just saying, God bless them and their families and how wonderful it is for them, without, someone having to do something to make it political and prove a point to you. And it's like, I'm sure that they're listening to the media all begrudging this. And so that factors in. It's just so exhausting. So that's why I'd just rather argue with idiot strangers on Twitter.
Nice. Yeah, honestly, the election cycle kind of drove me off of Facebook, because I was actually getting into pretty heated arguments with family members back when I was pretty staunchly never Trump, because I kept trying to show them, I understand that you like the guy and you like the fact that he's, bull in a china shop when it comes to D.C., but look what he said here. Look what he did here. But then it was JD that actually brought it to my attention, and I didn't really think of it this way because I don't do things this way. But in the area where he was raised, and this is where JD grew up too, they have this concept of when they're in the middle of trying to close a deal or do whatever, they're going to basically say whatever they have to say, no matter how bad it may sound, to get people's attention. And that's what JD finally explained to me. He's like, look, dude, this is nothing but him trying to break through and make sure that people are understanding what it is that he's trying to say. And seeing how, I mean, he's still the same way, much to my chagrin, but I mean, it's like Orty said on Fubar last night when, because I produced that show, and Angie had set in for Sam last night, and Orty said, look, I didn't vote for the guy either, but he's like the Leslie Nielsen of the White House, because every time you turn around, he may not have a clue what he's doing, and it looks like he really doesn't, but he falls into success. Everything he's doing it backwards. He's pratfalling right into it, but everything that he's doing is working. And yet nobody says anything because Trump, Russia, Stormy Daniels, and it's just I mean, even he's like, dude, this is getting old. He's like, and but it's just weird to watch because, I mean, I'm still I say I'm objective. I have people that are starting to yell at me and tell me that I've drank the orange haterade. I don't believe that, but because I still look at things that he says and look at things that he does, and I'm like, this is not cool. But when you're looking at, again, some of the best economic numbers we've had since before Carter was president, and we're not talking about it because of Stormy Daniels in Russia. That's like there was this thing with her attorney. Nobody seems first of all, nobody knows how the hell she got this attorney because nobody knows who's paying her bills. Because she's not, and she's already told everybody she's not. So he makes this big deal about subpoenaing all these different bank records for Cohen, right? And takes him in and takes him up in front of the judge. Well, yeah, they all had the dude's name, but guess what? One of them was I don't even remember Cohen's first name at this point because I don't have the article pulled up anymore. But it was a dude with same first name, same last name in Canada. Same first name, same last name in Michigan. Same first name, same. So the dude's got like 16 different Cohens with 16 different bank statements. Look at all this fraud, Your Honor. And the other guy's attorney's like, dude, these aren't even the same people.
No, I think there's just been this is how they operate though with presidents that the media operates with presidents that they don't like. They try to not even cover some of the good stuff, and then they overblow every other, every little thing that they don't like. Like I said, right down to like wardrobe and hairstyle and holding hands or not. I mean, it's just it's so hard to just stomach anymore. I don't really turn on the news all that much. I'd prefer just to read because at least there I can I don't have to hear obnoxious voices and condescending tones. So I prefer to mostly just read about everything as opposed to watch it. But I do still turn it on some, and it's hard.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm actually gonna talk about this next bit on the next show here in about 6 minutes. But I want to get your take on something that just came across my newsfeed right before I was leaving the office. Apparently, now you tell me how well this sits with you. After James Comey was no longer the director of the FBI and had left the FBI, upon being called back in to testify, actually had a meeting with Mueller to go over what he should and shouldn't say.
Yeah, I don't like that.
The special prosecutor, who's supposed to remain neutral, was coaching a former member of the FBI as to what to say in front of Congress.
Yeah, that sounds not right. That smells a little fishy.
I mean, this whole thing is getting to the point where it's smelling fishy. I mean, it's the same thing I've tried to explain to so many people. I mean, I have the unfortunately, people know what I do on the side now at my day job. So anytime I'm on break or on lunch, they will come ask me for my opinion. And that's what I keep getting all the time is, well, what do you think about the whole Russia collusion thing? Do you think he really did it? I'm like, dude, they have been investigating this for over 2 years at this point in the digital information age. So don't, and this is their comeback every single time. Well, look how long it actually took for them to get Nixon. That was not in the digital information age. In this day and age, by now, if there was something to find, they would have found it. All I'm going to say about all of this, and then I'm going to shut this part of it down because I don't want to give away too much, is it's time to put the cards on the table. If you think you have him on Russian collusion, then it's time to either put the cards on the table or fold. Because I'm tired of it.
Yeah, I agree. They just keep getting, enough little tidbits of something that they can try to justify extending it and to taking it a different route and to, opening it up to more people and all of that kind of thing. I mean, it just really seems like a sort of like it's turned really, really desperate, and they are grasping at any little thing that they can to try to keep a little gas in the tank. And I'm with you. I think put it out. Or if you really are on the verge of something, then go ahead and release part of it. Go ahead and release part of what you do have that shows that there is some, that this thing has some legs, because I just cannot see with anything that we've been told that it has any legs. It seems like they are just freaking scrambling to find a needle in a haystack. And it's old, it's tiring. So if they've got something, show it. If they don't, then, this needs to be wrapped up. He's going to spend, the first term of his presidency under this investigation. And I'm really sick of hearing Democrats going, well, this is the Trump administration is under federal investigation. Well, you guys didn't give a hoot about that when you were running Hillary for president. She was under investigation that entire time. I mean, give me a break.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the thing that I don't get it, because they're like, well, the president shouldn't be under federal investigation and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, you didn't give a damn that Hillary had been under federal investigation. And the thing about it is, I keep going back to that email that they were hoping nobody was ever going to see, where she basically says, if Trump wins, we all hang. I keep going back to that email because there's more here. That's what worries me. I think we've just scratched the surface as to some of the things that have gone on. I mean, when you have a sitting special prosecutor coaching someone as to what to say to the FBI about the FBI to Congress, I have a problem with this. Congress is officially their oversight anyway, even to that damn special counsel. So he shouldn't be somebody that's supposed to be neutral as far as this goes for the purposes of the investigation. Shouldn't be telling anybody what they should say in front of the body that actually oversees everybody we're talking about right now. I mean, you want to talk about proof of collusion? Uh-oh.
You there?
Oh, no, you are there. I heard a click and then I didn't hear anything else, and I'm like, oh no. But anyway.
No, it's just old. We had a little 4-year-old interruption there.
Hi, Ben.
But all good. Well, it's old. It's over. I'm sick of it. And I don't want them to not, as with any president, if there truly is wrongdoing and illegal activity and all that, then I do want it brought to the surface, but not an endless chase to try to catch or find something. We just can't have these uninhibited investigations that have no limit. They're just forever ongoing until they can finally grasp something. I think that's really detrimental to the republic.
I completely agree. And on that note, why don't you remind folks where it is that they can hang out with you when you're not listening to me prattle on about politics?
Can find me on Twitter at jhomestead, Facebook JR Homestead, and check out misfitspolitics.com. Tomorrow night is Misfit Mischief, kicking off at 8:30 Eastern, and it should be a pretty fun one, so join us.
In the way they used to do it in the old school days on TV, be there or be square. All right, so on that note, we are out, folks. I'll be back here in just a second to kick off the America Off the Rails show. So for those of you hanging out for the late night, don't go away. We'll be right back. For those of you that don't want to hang around, fine, I didn't want to talk to you. Anyway, we'll see you next week on Jen and Rick, because I know some of you only like to tune in because of her, and I'm fine with that. We'll see you guys later. Take care, and God bless.
Actors, this is a money-saving...
Wrong button. My bad.
All righty. Well, I'll let you go.
Couldn't get away.